As
You know
your
who
white
else
woman.
recently escaped?
Who?
Dolly Parton's husband.
Jeez.
Zack.
Wow.
Mine's too hard.
Escaped? What? You know what, Andy, if you need a new co-host of Pop Report, because he needs to go away for a bit.
I don't know, kids. Both of y'all have your
I'm-
outlandish.
I would never want to escape Dolly Parton. That was too far for you.
No,
That
I
was
wasn't
too-
saying he escaped her.
Yeah, it kind of did.
It's the Pop Report.
So juicy.
I feel like Katy Perry right now because of, if you remember her like on tour where she's like, I'm going through divorce, and she like pops on stage and she pops it on and she's like doing fine. She's like smiling. I feel like that's me because I'm going through like the housing search of finding an apartment and being like, time to get on camera. Did we just cry? No. Off to the next place. How are you, Zach?
I'm good. I'm not crying for once. I'm just trying to like get my schedule together. It's been a busy couple of weeks.
You are podcast central. 5 podcasts one day, 3 another, 2 here, 4 there.
Yeah. Birthday parties, 50th birthday parties that I'm planning for each of my parents because they decided to be born a week apart.
How rude. How rude. We have a fun little girl in the studio today. That's your cue,
Little
Donna.
girl.
Little girl. Late. She's
Little
a lady.
Little girl.
I know.
Donna, you're supposed to say, might as well call me bitch.
I haven't thought about them in a while. Welcome to the show, little bitch, Donna Bowling.
Donna, it's been a minuto.
You know what? I was just talking to my friend Molly yesterday. I just did her show, and she
Shannon?
and I are both going through some crazy parenting stuff. And we were saying it's so wild. We were both in serious like chaos, and then we hit record and we're like, so tell us about the Oscars. Like we live wild double lives as content creators, you know?
That we do.
The behind the scenes, the back and forth, the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
Well, should we just get into this episode? I guess you opened the door to recapping Oscars. So I feel like we have a lot to dive into, obviously, in the Pop Report.
Yeah,
But
like Megan Thee Stallion.
like Meghan Markle. What's the third Meghan? I can't think of a third
Meghan
one.
Markle was not at the Oscars.
You
No,
brought up
Meghan
Meghan, and I was like, everything comes in
Sussex.
threes.
Sussex.
No, Megan Duchess of Sussex.
Oh, it's not Megan Sussex.
No, it's Megan Duchess of Sussex.
Or her kids Duchess of Sussex?
They're Prince and Princess of Sussex.
But
Right.
what's
This is
their
a
last
tongue
name?
twister.
Something of Sussex.
Okay.
What are
The
Meghan
Duchess of Sussex?
Markle's
Duke and Duchess of Sussex?
kids?
Anyway, in this episode,
last
first we'll get into
name?
Oscars while Zach is looking at more things. We have some Meghan Markle news because Mr. Zach Repeater watched the first episode of Miss Megan's, I don't even know what to call it, cooking show, lifestyle show, so you didn't have to. Other news in here about his favorite
Oh.
Chappell Roan as well.
Their last names are Mountbatten Windsor.
But then what? She said she wants to have the family name.
It's Mountbatten Windsor, and also Sussex.
None of it makes sense.
Lilibet it's Mountbatten Windsor, but she also uses the last name Sussex.
Back to that. Well,
I don't. Okay, we'll get into that when we get into that.
absolutely. So, starting off, I'm very direct and blunt to the point today. Did you two watch the Oscars?
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
So no from one, yes
I
from
did.
another.
I did watch Selena Gomez save all of the people from immigration from the red carpet, though. Her dress looked gorgeous.
She saved us from listening to new music as well. So
Still?
thank you.
As did
Yes.
Ariana. Ariana won't let us know when she's giving us new music.
She actually did give a little hint that she's basically dropping the deluxe edition of her Eternal Sunshine album. So
But not
she-
within the next 10 days, she said. She
She
said that when
did-
she uses the word soon, that she has to release within the next 10 days, and she's not using the word soon. So that was her nod that it's
I
not
like saying
soon.
the word soon. It's so vague. It's so vague. But I mean, looking at the, I guess, red carpet of things, Donna, who did watch, there was a lot that happened and didn't happen at the same time. We had Miss Ariana Grande talking about the new music, which she has a hotline you can call about like her memory erasure. If you remember like the We Can't Be Friends music video. We had an Adrian Brody kiss, We had a lot of random do's and don'ts of the carpet. I feel like it was lackluster, in my honest opinion. I feel like we're on like Fashion Police because we had the three of us together. I feel like nothing really happened on the carpet this year.
No, I thought it was incredibly boring. And the show as well.
The show was fine. I would just say
like
fine.
there was nothing. I mean, truthfully, do you remember? Yeah, there's like like a beautiful performance by the Wicked girls. You know, like
Oh, that was a good moment.
Yeah,
I think that
there
was
was,
the
like,
only moment
strong
that I
over.
heard.
there was a couple moments like that, but there was not that moment that everyone woke up the next day and they were like, "Whoa, wow."
Did you see that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this was a lacking year in the Oscars. I thought it was overall a long, draining, boring show like Adrian Brody's speech.
Well, that was a record, 5 minutes and 40 seconds, something like
I
that.
can't believe he broke a record.
I can't believe he really got the orchestra to stop playing.
I mean, what are they going to do? Like, not listen to the best actor? Like, just keep playing? That would have been even worse.
Keep on keeping on. I think this year was kind of different because we didn't have a lot of heavy hitters that we're like used to at like the award circuit. And so when we look at stuff, this was like the year of like indie film. This was the year of people who obviously have been around, like Demi Moore, who haven't won as many awards. You look at people who are new, like the Mikey Madisons. You look at people specifically who took home and cleaned up are not the ones you expected to. So everyone was chanting for Wicked and sing its praises. If you are truly someone who pays attention to the award circuit, as unfortunate as it is, they out the gate were not going to get a lot of awards this season. They will get a lot of their awards for the second installation of the movie, but people were online being like, Cynthia Erivo should have won, Ariana should have won, and it's like, I don't disagree. They're talented.
But wait, why? I've heard that too, that they're gonna get their awards the second with this part 2, but why not with part 1? Like, wasn't part 1 good? Like, why don't they deserve it both times?
I think a couple people look at the career arc and they look at their performance when it comes to a lot of different projects. So when you have the second, it really shows that you're able to still maintain that performance. And so sometimes with it being still new on the scene, like Ariana Grande for a nomination like this, people are like, we don't know realistically, like if she can sustain that performance. We don't have anything to compare it by. People really looked at a lot of different things of, in a case like Mikey Madison, where a movie made with little to no money, amount of screen time was on, and the entirety of the role and how she carried it, they're like, we're going to consider these parts. So you look at people who were Zoe Saldana, also for like, I don't agree with this, Emilia Perez, the way she was on screen for most of the time and able to carry somehow this disastrous movie. They would look at specific parts and say, okay, you can carry, you can maintain your weight. But I think people really didn't vote for Wicked because they wanted to see what would happen in the second and see, like, can they maintain that performance for a second, or do we have something to compare it to, or necessarily what? That's my weird
but
take
they all
on
filmed
it.
at the same time. It's not like
I know. Like, I just think people kind of overlooked Wicked this year.
And we
Like,
already got Defying Gravity. We're not going to get Defying Gravity in the second movie.
we're gonna
That
get
was the moment.
defying the odds. That's how we're gonna get.
It was such a bummer of a year. The fact that you have 10 Best Picture nominations and I've only seen one, and then 9 of them, I've heard of 3 of them, and 7 of them I will never see. I have 9 of them I will never see, and I have no interest of them. I truly have no interest. I will never remember any of them. And I think the majority of America feels this way, other than like the little artsy fartsy entertainment, Hollywood, cinema loving crew. The majority of America doesn't go and see these movies, which is why the numbers are not, like, people aren't interested in the Oscars for this. Like, I miss the years of Titanic. I miss the years of the big blockbuster film where the highest grossing film is also the Best
Wicked.
Picture nominee.
Yeah.
Like Wicked and the Barbie movie. Why can't we just have those kinds of years? I mean, I'm sorry. This is what is lacking. It felt like an indie type of Oscars. That's not what we want to see.
You have to think of who's voting too. Like, we necessarily, the 3
voting?
of us are not a part of the Voters Academy.
Well,
And
the
so-
Academy needs to, age down.
Well, you know what? We got to age up or we got to opt in. when you think of people who are voters, they are
Opt
people
in. I'm
who
opting.
have their card and they have their, you know, SAG opportunities, they have their Academy opportunities. A lot of these people are an older demo and they do watch, they love to go to the events and they love to meet the celebrities. A lot of what award season is really a rise and grind when it comes to shoveling out the stars, bringing them to every award and saying, how many people can we get you in front of? And so when you look at like a lot of these for-year consideration events, they're really giving the voters food. They are giving them access. They're giving them like an experience to be like, wow, like I'm also thinking of, unfortunately, some voters think this way, what I got at that event and how like remarkable of an event it was and how they market it and how they like go through it. So I don't think it's voted the same as what it used to be, like in the early 2000s, in the 90s. I think it's changed.
I feel like all the Academy voters wear turtlenecks and like glasses. They're very
they love mobbing Nicole
they're like Andy
Kidman.
Cohen. You know how Andy Cohen wears turtleneck and glasses to some of his shows? Like I feel like they're like what's next for the Academy today?
I'm a critic voter, but that's because
You're in the Academy?
I'm not a part of the Academy. I'm a critic of the Critics' Choice Awards.
Oh, are you?
Oh, yes, I pay money to do that, and that's the only reason why.
Who did you vote for Best Picture for the critics?
Who would I have voted for?
Yeah.
Girl count is on one. There were so many titles. The Brutalist was the one that was 3.5 hours. Nobody asked for it, about a piece about cinema, art, and I think that even though like it deterred people for its length, people who watched it said it was absolutely stunning for 3.5 hours. The amount of like things you got to see, how it was shot, how long it took to produce. They're like, it somehow kept my interest the entire time.
You saw that?
I did not. Because I sat there and I was like, 3.5 hours, my ass is going to be like Bunyan Central. Like, no.
Bunions on your ass? Okay, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, you're welcome. And
that
so
was a
this
Ryan
was an
Reynolds
intermission
joke.
for it, but like, I don't know if y'all remember when King Kong came on the scene. They're like, it's 3 hours, and people lost their shit. They're like, 3 hours in a fucking movie theater. And I
But
was
that's
like,
Wicked.
that's also like up there with the previews and everything else. Yeah, like
Wicked was 3 hours and 20 minutes with previews.
it's just I don't want to see anything more than I fidget. Okay, like I want to move. I want to get my little glass of water on my time. I haven't even seen Wicked.
You haven't? What kind of a critic's choice are you?
I mean, I didn't vote this year.
That's your response. That was your responsibility
my-
as a critic.
that's my
Zach,
opinion.
you're friends with this guy?
No.
Don't know her. Hardly knew him. Zach, what stood out to you as someone who didn't watch?
None of it. I was like so disinterested in the Oscars this year. I mean, I saw the clip of the, Defying Gravity, which is cute, but we've seen that like 500 times already. It's the same thing. Cynthia knows how to hit the same note. And listen, she kills it every time.
She kills it.
She kills it every time. I'm not trying to negate her talent or,
diminish her
performance, but like we've seen it so many times that like that shouldn't have been the moment of the night. Who hosted it? Conan?
Conan did a really good job, I will say. Conan,
I didn't hear a single joke from him, so it wasn't that good of a job because it didn't really penetrate social media.
There were a couple jokes. I think that they just like they had limited time they put him on screen, but like there were a couple zingers.
See, this is the thing. Okay, now it's time for my rant about the Oscars. I let you guys go back and forth and patted all the actors on the back and go Zoe Saldana, whatever. The thing is that the people that are now voting and that are choosing what the Oscars should be about, it's way too artsy fartsy. And like the general public doesn't give a shit about that. Like what you said about the Titanic, like those were the days of the Oscars when it was a show and people wanted to watch it and it was about the top movie that everybody was talking about. Now it's like a chore to have to watch the movies that are being nominated because they're focused so much. Like the Zoe Saldana movie, what a fucking loser of a movie. Like how is that doing anything?
No one disagrees with that.
I know, but my point that's my point is that that's what these people are now prioritizing as this is like a top film, and everybody, like most people aren't watching these shows anymore because they're like, I don't like these movies, like don't interest me. They're not good. They're not entertaining. They're artsy. They have subliminal messages like the Kendrick Lamar performance that everybody was jizzing over. And like it's not like there's such a disconnect, and it's like the Conan O'Briens, like the hosts, the comedians, those should be the stars of the night because they're the ones that are hooking and entertaining the audience. The jokes and the performances and the good blockbuster movies, those are the three things that people used to love about these shows. And Hollywood's now taking themselves so seriously that you can't even put a Joan Rivers on the red carpet anymore, that like nobody wants to watch any of this stuff anymore because it's gone so stale.
We didn't really have any blockbusters, I feel like, this year, aside from Wicked in its entirety of like top grossing when it comes to that, like similar note that you pointed out. I think
Honestly,
that, like,
it ends with us.
It ends with us. This is the
That
most
was
talked about
actually
film.
a top grossing film, wasn't it?
It performed well. It made a lot of press.
streamed a
think
lot. Now it has.
Listen, I think at this point, well, I mean, that's the other thing. There's a lot of good streaming movies that are not even being touched on anymore. And it's like
You have to have an 8-week run, unfortunately, to qualify for any
Oscar.
award. So
Oh,
you
for
have
any
to have
award.
a limited award run of theaters in select markets, at least 8 weeks. I know this because I worked actually a few of these back when I worked random ass events. So for Netflix, what they do is they will run like a specific title in theaters, and then they'll do like a pop-up with like all of the costumes and all the awards that you can like look for and what they're trying to compete for. But I wanted to go back to your note, Zach, about like Conan, because the only thing that I really thought stood out as a funny gut punch joke that like literally had everyone in a room gasped is his joke about Honora. He's like, Honora had dropped the F-bomb a total of what, like 400 sometimes. He's like, that's more than Carlos Sofia Gascon's publicist after her tweets. Like, that was the one joke I was like, you guys addressed it very well, very humorously. And like, there were a lot of mixed things that were going on this year. I just think the award season really is the luck of the draw of who's starring in what movies and what movies perform this year. And that really sets up if this is going to be a fun award season.
But it's like we also have to like get with the times. If the like we need to change the rules and not let it be an 8-week, you know, in Ohio and Minnesota or wherever they have to do their limited edition run. Like
Limited edition.
Like, but like the thing is, if now everything is moving over to streaming, and now like we need to like pivot and shift, so that we're not still like playing by these old rules that now we have to go to every little indie film that nobody's watching and that nobody cares about.
What about, I mean, like, so Carla's tweets, what was so weird, I was sitting with all these industry people when I was watching the show here at my house, and I had a woman who used to work at Disney, a woman at Meta.
You had an Oscars watch party?
4 people. Okay.
Did you guys have the little tablet, the little booklets, and you guys voted?
Well,
Yeah, and
I
I was
got
in-
15.
I was in
got
second place. I got 14. No, how many how many total were there?
There's like 21, 22.
Okay,
maybe.
I got, I
Guys,
was
what
in
in the
second place.
2019 is going on here?
Shut up. It was the only thing that kept us interested.
Yeah, same.
So I got second place, whatever. So, but I had someone from an agency, like a big agency, Ari Emanuel. Have you heard of him?
Yeah.
No, I had someone from CA. I had someone from Meta. I had someone that used to work at Disney, and then I had someone that now works in video games but used to work at Sony. So I was covered with all the industry peeps. But like 2 of them had no idea about Carla's tweets. I'm like, I'm sorry,
Really?
what? You didn't know anything?
It hasn't gone as viral
No,
as
and I
think.
know why, and I'm gonna get
I know.
canceled now.
Yeah, I know why.
I'm gonna
Go
get
for it.
canceled.
Go for it.
No, you first.
No, the real reason people don't want to call her out is because she's trans. Like that's
Yes.
the real reason. Is
No,
that it's a conflict here. You
a
can't
conflict.
call
The
her
reason is
out.
because they hid her. They hid her specifically, and they said, we will not be
No,
paying for
the
anything.
reason the scandal hasn't blown up and the media is not covering it extensively the way that they would do if this were some regular white, if this were Emma
was
Roberts,
a white woman,
if this were Emma Roberts and these were her tweets
or
that
a white
came out,
man.
it would have been everywhere. But it's the fact that she's, my understanding, she is a woman of color and she's trans. So at this, like, you know, you can't.
it's very
It's
conflicting.
double standards. I agree.
It's very conflicting for like the modern audience because they're doing something groundbreaking. They're giving the first trans woman a best female actress nomination.
Yeah.
This is a groundbreaking moment for the Oscars,
Can't
for the
conflict
Academy.
It's a double standard
And
here.
now all of a sudden she's getting exposed with these crazy highly cancelable tweets. If this was anyone, I mean, Demi Moore, Cynthia
Yeah.
Erivo, any of them,
True.
Ariana
they would-
Grande.
they would have been pulled so fast.
It would have
Yeah.
been
Never-
hit so much harder. I
They
mean, you
would
look
have
at
not
also
been
like
seen again.
you look at white collar crime. I watched the OJ documentary, and
Okay.
you look at like the reason why the OJ crime was so politicized is like Nicole Brown was a white woman, and they were like, if this wasn't like OJ's ex-wife who was black, this wouldn't be covered as much.
Probably.
And so like partly that is true. You also look at when these things broke, they pulled her and they said, we are not paying for any of your expenses. You are not going to be given any access to the award shows. It's covered on your own. And so I think that also really
I didn't know
curbed it.
that.
It curbed it real bad. It was on the page of every front tabloid, Variety, and more. And so I had a report on it too. And it's like, she obviously apologized. She said her piece, but everyone's like, there are not just 1, 2, 3. There are multiple things that she had posted online
And
but-
horrendous things about her co-star too.
about Selena
She called
Gomez.
Selena Gomez a spoiled rich rat or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it
haven't
was
read
bad.
any of her tweets, so I can't say that I'm not.
Zach, for
She
you
talked
it's
about George
nothing. For you
Floyd. She
it's
talked about a
you
lot of
know
bad
run of the mill
things.
shit.
Yeah,
But it's just like if this were any other white actress, they would
Oh.
have been canceled immediately.
I mean, look what they're
even
doing
in
for Hannah
2025.
Burner. Look
Yeah.
how they're trying to treat
Yeah,
Hannah
they're
Burner.
trying to cancel
for,
Hannah Burner for her microaggression against Megan Thee Stallion. It's insane. Like
But,
no,
but
the
this
people are
woman
giving
is still
Carla a
getting
pass
an
because
Oscar
she's trans.
nomination, and she's sitting in the Oscars. It's really interesting to watch
Mhm.
the difference, and it's
Mhm.
because they don't know how to handle it. Like the Academy, really seriously, you could see them like get sweaty, like not know
so
what to
Carla
do.
skipped the carpet. She did not walk the carpet.
But
She was
that's
only in
because
the
she
audience.
probably didn't want to.
No one wants her around, unfortunately. Which actually is the truth of the matter.
It's
no one.
transphobic. That's transphobic.
No, that's not.
Yes, it is.
Nope. Nobody
those
wants
standards,
her
that's
around.
Not
Transphobic.
transphobic.
All
She
of
is.
the remarks.
she's
all
like
the
a
things that she
Blake.
has said. And so when it came out, the director even said, "I do not want to speak to her. I don't want any relation with her."
The director said that.
Transphobic.
Yes. And so no one had contact with her. She put out her video saying like, "I'm not a racist. Please don't judge me for my past actions." It did a lot of damage. I don't think that it did as much damage if it was somebody else. Unfortunately. Also,
By the way, just so the audience understands, the last tweet was like last year.
they're not good.
It wasn't
not
in the
good.
80s. This was literally in 2023 or 24.
Yeah. After
spanned
cancel
back.
culture of 2020, like
It
it's
Yeah.
spanned back, but there's a
and
lot
they
of
weren't
things
like,
that,
and there's a difference with like tone. If it's a joke, like the tone and the context, like these were like very serious tweets from the ones that I did see that were like, "Ooh, that's a little much."
yeah,
Girl.
yeah. So Amelia Perez also the
Does she have a
nomination
career
had-
now? That's the question. What now?
No,
That
no.
was it. That was the
That's
last
it.
of it.
Amelia
They had to
Perez
give her
also
her
is
moment, but I think,
a
yeah.
very polarizing movie for a lot of people, for how it's produced, how it's portrayed, how Mexican people are upset, how trans people are upset. Everyone's like,
Yeah,
this
I'm
movie's
upset on behalf of all the people Selena Gomez wants to save. I'm Mexican. I can say that.
Well, I was gonna say it's not just it's the portrayal of the they didn't even want to shoot in Mexico. They shot in France, and they're like, we don't want to shoot in this location. The director is a cishet white man. It is just.
Is he also MAGA?
Wait, but didn't Zoe Saldana? She did a speech where she was just like, "I'm sorry,
sorry,
that the
you're
Mexicans are offended."
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
sorry they're offended.
And it's like, how dare you make a movie about trying to portray someone's experience, but when you got it wrong, you're saying, no, you shouldn't feel that way. We
Because
did
it's
it
art.
justice.
Yeah, she said it's
So-
art.
It's like everyone definitely had a distaste with that too, being like, you don't understand.
Emilia Perez is just not doing it for us.
El Mal.
Donna,
really-
that's gonna end up on Reddit.
Emilia Perez? That's how
Yeah.
she said it.
Yeah, that's the
I'm trying
pronunciation.
to say it correctly.
Oh.
Is that wrong?
That's correct. If
What
you
about
are-
the
if
woman
you are a
who
true
won the
native
award
speaker,
for Best Original Song and when she came up there and got the award?
Best original pronunciation, Miss Donna Bowen.
Emilia, Do you
But that
remember
is,
that?
I think, our end to our Oscars recap that we really did. We really kind of pinated that Oscars. I think last year's Oscars were.
That was cultural appropriation.
Appropriation.
We have
I'm
Zack here.
offended. Those are my people. Pinata is from my people.
Lalwani, where do you come from?
People think I'm part Hawaiian. It's the
Are
last
you
name, but
Persian?
I'm not.
People think I'm
No.
Asian.
Where are you from?
I'm half Mexican, and my mom's whiter than you. So,
You're not Mexican.
or sorry, I was looking at you and you said Mexican. I was just like,
I was like, what?
it's been a day. I'm half Indian, and then my mom is a redhead. She's whiter than you.
You're trying to steal my culture. That's cultural appropriation.
The pinata
So
comment
am
really
I.
hit me through.
I'm like Kathy Hilton. I'm Chinese. You guys.
Oh,
you
Andy,
have
did you
this
see
hat.
that? Oh my God, Andy. Kathy Hilton on Real Houses of Beverly Hills, she said she met this woman who told her that she's part Chinese 3000 BC. And all the other women just looked at her at the table like, what?
And she
she's
kept
like,
eating
yeah.
her salad.
And she was eating her salad. She's like, yeah, I'm Chinese. I'm part Chinese. The woman told me. She just knows everything. And everyone was like, what?
What a time. Well, if you haven't subscribed to the Pop Report, it's probably a good time to do so. We have a few comments from our last podcast.
Oh, boy.
We have one comment from Marley. And it was
Marley
about
loves
that,
you.
It was about that review left that we talked about from our last episode.
Oh.
Marley says, how dare that nasty reviewer say those horrible things about my beautiful Andy? You're right, she does. It's not weird for a straight married girl from Australia to have a massive crush on an openly gay man based in LA, is it? I hope not. Work.
Look at you're
Look at
just,
that.
making Marley wet.
You know? Any comments?
No,
Any
she
thoughts?
writes it in the comments every week.
Well,
Marley.
aside from that,
Really?
Zachary, what other hot headlines do you have for us today?
Well, I know your girl Chappell Roan has, some announcements that she's making.
Is it that hot?
I don't know. I don't like her.
I know you don't like her.
Why?
Well, in our music news, Chappell Roan has announced that there is indeed new music coming. For those of you who are not familiar, she has been teasing a potential installation of new music for quite some time. Country.
Oh, I want her to do country. Maybe next year she'll get country album of the year.
So the song is titled The Giver. It will be released on March 13th. We finally gotten a release date. But there was a fun little tease. First, it happened on Saturday Night Live in November 2024. And she was putting up some billboards over the last few weeks featuring a hotline phone, and it played snippets of the song when you called it. So people are very excited because this marketing coming up to this, and people have been wanting some new music to get out of the rotation of Pink Pony Club. Some people are like, give me something new. I want to hear more. And Donna, are you a fan?
I like Chappell Roan's music. I asked my kids what Pink Pony Club means. I got good answers.
What does it mean?
And what did your kids say?
Well, my 12-year-old said it's about a strip club.
Oh.
And it's about a young girl coming and working at a strip club.
Oh.
And then my 9-year-old said it's about a club with pink ponies.
You know,
So
I
which
like
one is
both those
it?
answers.
And I said maybe it's like an amalgamation of both.
What, Andy, as the Chappell Roan fan here, what does Pink Pony Club mean?
Well, I've seen a couple
don't
different
know?
things. I've
He has
had
no idea.
theories.
He has
So-
all
He's
types
chat
of theories.
GPTing.
I'm literally looking. I've had theories because West Hollywood is mentioned a lot in the song. And so I thought it was about Flaming Saddles and Santa Monica. She's like, oh, Santa Monica. I'm like, Santa Monica Boulevard. It sounds like being in West Hollywood at a place that, you're very safe, celebrated, having a good ass time. And I really thought Flaming Saddles is what it was based on. But it's just the generalization of being out and about in a very safe space.
Cool
I
club.
guess.
Yeah, I just thought it was like a cool club. The Pink Pony Club is the club that everybody wants to go to.
Okay, the Pink Pony Club by Chappell Roan is a song about escapism, self-discovery, and embracing one's true identity. That's how I feel every time I listen to No Filter with Zach Peter.
Oh my God, don't even. You
I
can't
do.
do it.
That's when I escape as myself and I learn my true
Ah.
identity.
As
You know
your
who
white
else
woman-
recently escaped?
Who?
Dolly Parton's husband.
Jeez.
Zach.
Wow.
Mine's too far.
Escaped? What? You know what, Andy, if you need a new co-host of Pop Report, because he needs to go away for a bit.
I don't know, kids. Both of y'all have your
I'm-
outlandish.
I would never want to escape Dolly Parton. That was too far for you.
No,
That
I
was
wasn't
too-
saying he escaped her.
Yeah, it kind of did.
But that's
Kinda-
not what I was. That's not what I implied. That he was trying to escape her. He was escaping whatever situation.
Do better.
A moment of silence.
He's
for
in
Zack to
heaven now.
apologize
Heaven's
for Dolly
better than
Parton's
earth.
name.
Go back to Threads.
Oh yeah, that's working out for me.
So, unfortunately, Dolly Parton's husband has passed away.
Passed away.
It's so sad.
Did not escape, Mr. Zachary. Say your regrets.
Regrets. I apologize.
And you be
Like Carla Gascon, I apologize.
So it's sad. Like Dolly Parton, everyone's like, how could you not like Dolly Parton? She is a beautiful,
Icon.
loving, spirited person. Her husband, on the other hand, was not as open to the public. He was very, very uber private. Every single article has been like, you know, he was not in front of the limelight. There are a few photos of him, if even out there.
Mhm.
But we sadly got news that he had passed, and she had posted on Instagram about the passing. He was 82. His name is Carl Thomas Dean. And so it's sad. It's like Dolly has Dollywood. She obviously resides like in Tennessee, and she wants her privacy at this time. And she's like, this is probably very difficult for anybody to have, especially at an older age where you're like, death is probably around at some point,
Mhm.
but it's just, you don't know when it's coming. But he passed away on March 3rd in Nashville, and the post read, quote, "Who we laid to rest in a private ceremony with immediate family attending. He is survived by his siblings Sandra and Donnie." She also went on to post in here, "Carl and I spent many wonderful years together. Words can't do justice to the love we shared over 60 years. Thank you for your prayers and sympathy." She added, "The family asked for privacy during this time."
Mm.
I know.
60 years.
That's a
They met when
long
Dolly
time.
Parton was 18 years old, and she was just starting her music career. And she said she would come to Nashville with dirty clothes. She was in a hurry to get there. And after, you know, she had put on her clothes in the machine, I guess, to like get them cleaned, she started walking down the street, and she's looking for like a new place to live. And this guy hollered and waved at her. And that was her now late husband. So very cute, like wholesome little run-in story, but 60 plus years of marriage.
I wonder what he did when she would go on tour and stuff, because I don't think he used to like go with her, huh?
If he did, maybe he just like stood backstage and kind of let her do her thing, or he just kind of let her live her life.
Yeah.
And that's honestly a supportive partner.
Yeah.
You're like, go be independent. I trust you. Like, I guess she also wrote in like interviews. There's a 1977 People magazine interview. She said, "He's sort of shy and quiet." She also wanted to say, quote, "What we have together is so sweet and good that I'd never want to get jumbled up with the other." She seemed very happy with it. Whatever they had in their relationship, if she is very much like
It worked
out
for
there,
them.
she has her name on a lot of different things. He was just a supportive partner to her.
Yeah, I mean, listen, she had such a private life. She had the Dolly side of her, and then she had, you know, her home life that she always made clear was very. I mean, just a few weeks ago, we were talking about how what was it? She goes to McDonald's or Denny's, and nobody would
Mhm.
recognize her when she's out because you know she's very different than the Dolly that we know.
And this song Jolene, that everyone knows about Jolene, she talked about this song and being everyone's like, who's Jolene? Who the fuck is this bitch? And everyone thought it was about a woman who was trying to steal Dean's affection, her late husband. She actually went on to say that like the real Jolene is just a flirtatious bank teller, and the song was just a playful joke between the two of them.
And it wasn't
And
it wasn't like
it
anything
wasn't a real, yeah.
serious.
And the
No.
real Jolene came out, and she was like, "I'm the real Jolene.
Please stand up
Please stand up."
at the bank teller.
Wow.
You know who's standing up now, though?
Who?
Armie Hammer.
I was waiting for you to try and segue this in because I don't know how you would segue this in.
He's standing up and walking out of the room because he's not gay. Well, not fully.
Well, not call me by your name enough.
So, did you see this, Donna? The
No.
Armie Hammer made out with the dude.
No.
So he was on his Hammer Time. Well, he changed the name. It's not called Hammer Time. It's called Armie Hammer Time because I guess I'm assuming Mr. MC Hammer probably
said,
was
"Don't
sent him
touch
a
that."
cease and desist. So he tweaked the
Don't
name
touch
of it.
this.
I've noticed that that's changed. Now it's called Armie Hammer time, and he says that he hooked up with a man, that he found this very attractive dude, and he was making out with him, and it was a
French
little
man.
what?
Yeah, a French man.
Frenchman, yes. And that they made out, and he was trying to like get into it, and he was trying to have sex with him, but he like couldn't get aroused by it, so he just left.
Wait, was this recent?
We don't know when.
No, I'm assuming this was like way back in the day before he was married, because he was married with kids recently, so this was a while ago.
I mean, who knows? He literally in this said, you know, we tried this, we were like trying that, and be like, what about this? And he's just like, it just
Did you
didn't
try this
satisfy him in any way.
Like tried from the
He-
left,
he was
tried
literally
from
like-
the right,
He's like, we tried everything.
From
tried
the
up,
back,
tried
from on
down.
top.
Hit
Okay,
it from the
so
back.
this is a little bit of a side note, but this is a question as a woman asking
Yes,
men who are into
men.
men. I've talked to my husband who is not into men about this. Just like the idea, because like women that I know,
Have standards. Yes.
well, no, can like flirt with both sides, right? Can do both
Yeah.
and still be straight. But men that I know, it's like a hard no.
It's
if
a
you are
toxic
straight.
masculinity thing. Yeah.
You
it's
can't like you
girls will
can't
kiss girls, men won't kiss men.
right. So I feel like if you are experimenting and like it, so this is where and this is going to be a little bit of a left turn here, but there's a storyline here on Southern Hospitality this season with Joe Bradley, who is one of the stars of Southern Hospitality, and he is straight. And he has dated he hooked up with Luann before, and now he's dating one of the girls, Maddie. But there's a gay guy on the show, and apparently they had like a really drunk night a few seasons back, and like passed out in bed together. And they're not saying what specifically happened, but something happened. Okay. And apparently the gay guy said, "I have feelings for you because I thought you were into it." So what is that? Because my husband said, I don't think I could ever get into it. Like, that's not something I could ever get into with a man. Like
a
I think he would be like
relationship
an
or
Army.
a sexual
No, like
intimacy
even
encounter?
physically into it. Like I think he would be like an Armie Hammer if that was the case. You know what I mean? That's
He
what
wouldn't actually act on it. Like Lance wouldn't make out with somebody the way Armie did.
Exactly. So like that's what I'm saying. It's like he wouldn't even try. It wouldn't even, no matter how drunk. That's what it's like. That's why I'm questioning.
Look at it this way. You can make out with somebody, you know, you can do the deed, but it's not going to arouse you. It's not going to give you that satisfaction to keep going or physically motivate you. So you're like, I'm in it. And that's probably what in this situation Armie Hammer was like, being like, I'm doing positions, I'm trying to start them, but like I'm not getting any erection. I'm not getting
into
anything
it.
like to actually start the intercourse. Like you're like, I'm
He
trying.
he should have offered up a limb.
Oh no. I saw gays all over this comment section. They were like,
They were into it, I'm sure.
yes. And I was like, what happened to us wondering if he's gonna
No, they're excited and
He's
hoping
He's
that
not
Armie.
a real cannibal. Like
That was
the claims
not-
were
yeah.
completely disputed. The woman that accused him of all of this stuff was discredited. She was dropped by her lawyer. They
weren't there
came
multiple
out.
people though?
What?
Weren't there multiple people?
I don't think he
No,
was
they were
actually
they were never
admit-
able to prove that any of those other DMs that leaked were even real.
But I do think that he is a very aggressive like man.
I
I,
think
don't think
he's
he's a
kinky.
healthy man.
I think he's kinky.
Tell me what a healthy man looks like.
Like
Justin
the two men I'm
Baldoni.
speaking to right now,
no.
and Justin Baldoni.
No, I think he's
no.
kinky and he likes dirty talk, but like he's not like an actual can. It's weird because when I talked about how Blake Lively had him fired from the set of Gossip Girl, and I didn't realize like how many people like still legitimately hate Armie Hammer because they believe that he actually committed the things that he was accused
Did
of.
you
And I was
watch
like,
the
Wait,
documentary?
Have we not caught up to speed here? Like
Is there a
Did you watch-
documentary about him?
Did you watch the House of Hammer
the
documentary?
documentary was also found to be discredited. Like, and again, that was like the time. That's like the Housewife and the Hustler documentaries that were coming out. Like the people were putting out these documentaries, and I know that there's like stuff with his family's past, and that I don't know anything
what was
about.
discredited in the documentary?
The girl that was in the they found that the allegations and some of the messages that were shown in the documentary weren't even real. And the girl that was featured in the documentary that made the allegations, again, she's been discredited. The investigation was dropped. He was cleared of the charges. His attorney released the other side of the correspondence that was not released to the public, but that shows that she was also actively participating in this dirty talk that they were engaging in.
I'd like to
Gloria Allred, the biggest "let's take down men" attorney, dropped her and like completely distanced her. Yeah.
I want to look into those things then. Well, take a bite. What's our next
And
story?
he even did a whole interview with like Piers Morgan where he was saying that like that girl was still harassing him and his family and his kids, and like she was saying these terrible things about like she hopes that his daughters end up getting assaulted, and like I don't know, it was wild. But most people didn't follow up after the headlines. But when I looked into it after, because I just looked into it recently when everybody was like, Armie Hammer, he's a cannibal. And I was like, I thought we'd finish that story. And then I looked into it. And I
do
was like,
think it was the truth was stretched for sure. Like
Yeah.
it's one thing to say it in text messages, etc., and whatever. I mean, I looked it up on ChatGPT and it says there's no credible evidence or verified report to suggest that he has been involved in cannibalism.
I love the ChatGPT response that you just gave for us.
Well, and now I've looked up Pink Pony Club, and that because I feel like ChatGPT is the fastest way to get through the crap.
Honestly, here's the thing though: is random tangent ChatGPT. You can like it's getting better, but you can
Is
ask
it not
things,
legit?
and it's like not always pulling the most relevant information. Like for specific headlines and like new news, like you can't get things from like today always or like the past week or. You know, it's starting to give its sources, which is nice when you do type something in. So that is.
So now let me look on Google. Is Armie Hammer a cannibal? And
oh yeah, all the stories are going to come up.
well,
about, like,
Rolling Stone, January 2nd, 2025, it says Armie Hammer reflects on cannibal scandal in new podcast interview. And Armie Hammer denies cannibalism claims. Or why Armie Hammer is grateful for the cannibalism accusation. Yeah, most of the newest interviews it says Armie Hammer confirms he bit the heart of a living animal, but denies cannibalism. But that's
one was
normal.
weird. That one
Yeah,
was,
but living
too gross.
animal. We all
Yeah.
have eaten animals.
No, I
No,
know,
I
but
grew
it
up in
was no, it
Pennsylvania.
was he was hunting, which I guess is a hunting thing that like people they'll hunt the animal and then they'll eat the heart or they'll like take a bite of a limb.
That's-
It's not my favorite. I'm
That's
like
like the
this
slim
doesn't help the
1% of
cannibalism thing,
hunters.
so.
like,
Okay,
Yeah.
well let's move on to somebody that
Yeah,
that is not polarizing or controversial, and that's none other than Mr. Dylan Efron, who is Donna, did you see that he said he doesn't like to take showers often? He doesn't like to use soap often.
Y'all.
this is file this under things that you should never say out loud.
File this into I stood next to this man
No.
on Sunday.
And he smelled.
Where were you?
Where were you? Because I was with Dylan Efron and
Yeah,
Mr.
why
Sam
don't we get
Asghari.
invited to this shit?
Donna,
So-
you know why we don't get invited to this shit.
We're not scandalous.
I went to
are
a
we?
watch party and I was working on my laptop doing the damn thing. And they're like, it's Oscars, Threads, like we want to have like little surprises like planned for you guys. So of course, it being during awards season, we want to bring out Traitors stars Sam Asghari and Dylan Efron. And I was just like so confused out of left field. They walk up, I'm going to get food, and they're like, everyone starts mobbing Dylan Efron, not Sam Asghari.
Well, because Sam is a mute.
I stood next to him and we said a
He
few
was
words.
complicit in silencing Britney.
You put out words, people have opinions. Sam was very quiet. And like, you know, when you come up to a man and you're like gonna smell some sort of odor, whether it's cologne or like you're in their vicinity, I got nothing from either of them.
Did you sniff them first? Like, did you?
I was
That's sexual harassment, according to Blake Lively, Andy, just so you know.
Oh, you're not allowed to
here.
sniff.
not the hair. So
Definitely not the neck.
I got a photo with Dylan Efron because everyone's like, do you want a photo with him? I was like, I guess. This feels weird when you're like next to someone, you're like, it's kind of like this is like a zoo a little
Is
bit.
it really weird because you posted it on your Instagram? Like, it was a pretty big flex to be like, I'm with Dylan Efron, but like, it was
No,
weird.
it's weird
Andy,
to say like, can I get a photo with you and leave? Someone asked like, do you want a photo with Dylan? All I said is like, I said, you've been doing really good on Traitors and I like your Chomps ads. And I was just like standing on my way because I'm like, everyone's just mobbing this guy. He's just, he's a little awkward, uncomfortable, like with
Stars,
so many
they're
people.
just like us.
So someone's like, you guys get a photo together. And Dylan's like, you want a photo? I was like, sure. Got a photo. And I was like, ha ha ha. No smell. No smell to him. That's where I was getting at.
Maybe you have COVID.
Maybe. So I sent Zack this Instagram story about Dylan Efron, and
I thought it was just a thirst trap, and then I realized, oh, it's about the shower.
yeah, I see a video of him on his Instagram story posting him in a Speedo, and I was like, first of all, you caught everybody's attention. The fact you're wearing a Speedo, very colorful. Second, he joked in there, like, these are the type of showers I take, like, if that counts. So
And it was the pool showers.
he's playing into, like, I know this thing's going around about me now that I don't take showers.
But they do say that when you stop using shampoo and you stop using deodorant, that your body naturally kind of just like balances out.
No, that's not true. That's a lie. That's the lie that we tell ourselves to make us feel better.
The no poo trend, the shampoo no poo trend, and
Stop.
you keep the pH balance on your scalp balances out, and it takes like 2 weeks to like balance out, but eventually it does balance out.
Why
and then
does this-
even with deodorant,
This sounds like a poosh product. Like, would you
it
like
was
some
very
no
poosh.
poo?
Yeah, it's like
And
a poosh thing.
what's the excuse of for the unhoused?
They shit themselves.
Maybe Dylan does that as well. So that's the poo.
If
That's
you're
the
looking
poo
for another
project.
reason to get
That's the
canceled
yes
today,
poo.
look to Zack. Look to Zack of things I shouldn't say in the workplace, but
I know I'm gonna get a harassment suit against me from this.
Listen, I believe there's only one excuse not to wash constantly, and that's if you're a woman with hair. I believe there's truth about not overwashing your hair because it creates more oil. So like there is a world there, but a man should and a woman should wash their body every day.
the hair,
blank, end
you're
of
not
story.
supposed to shampoo every day because of the natural oils.
That's what
And
they
if we
say.
actually shampoo
I
it,
do.
like, we dry our scalp out.
Especially if you sweat. If you're like a person that does a lot of sweaty workouts,
Yeah.
which I have a feeling Dylan is a exercise guy. He has a decent body.
But he just like
Decent.
does the water and he rinses and he's cool.
No, water is not something that cleans. Like, don't you watch Grey's Anatomy?
No.
Yeah.
I did 10 years ago.
Yeah. I guess.
Well,
Well,
good for Dylan. And you know who else deserves a little pat on the back this week is Mr. Jax Taylor, who's coming out with breaking news. This is how Us Weekly decided to position this. Breaking news. Jax Taylor admits he's addicted to cocaine.
Is this supposed to be news?
According to Jax Taylor, he gave Alex Baskin the exclusive. But wait, this is what's even more yummy.
Wait, hang on,
okay?
hang on.
Hold on.
I'm
Yummy.
really. Who is Alex Baskin?
He's the Housewives producer.
And
so-
Vanderpump Rules and The Valley.
And Vanderpump Rules in the Valley,
Got it.
yes.
Thank you for
And
educating
he has a
me.
podcast on he has a Bravo podcast. But so here's what's even more yummy is everyone's talking about Jax's
Oh,
groundbreaking
send that back.
admission.
Send that back to
But-
the kitchen. Nothing is
but-
yummy anymore.
Brittany Cartwright has broken her silence. And I just want to read you the statement that she issued because it's even more yummy. So she writes, I'm glad that he's finally admitted to what's really going on. For the first time, I can speak openly about the extent of trauma he's instilled on our family over the years. I've tried desperately to help him without success. I pray one day he completely knocks this addiction, but I'm skeptical. His behaviors are alarming and his treatment plan seems to be the bare minimum. I'm like, damn, girl. The shade in this, she was really like, good for him for admitting it, but I don't really care. Nor do I have a lot of faith.
Yeah.
No, it's so obvious. Like, did you guys listen to it? The pod?
Remember,
No, only a
I
clip.
know small things of Bravo. I know they
Well,
got divorced.
But of
Small
all of the
things
things you should know, you know Jax Taylor does cocaine. Like, that's one thing that you don't even
Honey,
need to watch Bravo to
honey.
know.
and if you know
75%
small,
of reality stars do cocaine. So
Yeah.
like,
But if
it
you
doesn't-
know
it's like
small
it's like saying there's
things-
going to be an earthquake in California. It's like guaranteed.
Yeah.
if you know small things of Bravo, the smallest man on earth on Bravo is Jax Taylor. Small mind, small heart, small penis, small all things. Okay, Jax Taylor is truthfully, I'm not a fan. Okay, the guy has blocked me on Instagram, so it's personal. He is really hard to listen to, and listen to him do this like whole charade on the podcast about like, man, like I've really been a bad guy in the past, and now I'm doing better, and I'm like, mental health, man, I'm gonna start speaking on mental health, and like I'm so excited about this world being sober. I'm like 82 or like maybe 83 days sober.
Yeah, he doesn't even know.
If you're 82 or maybe 83 days sober, I don't trust you. Because when you're in the 80s, you know day for day, straight up how many days sober you are.
Sometimes you know what day it is.
But it's like that's wild. And then he still is blaming Brittany. Alex was like, "Do you get along with Brittany right now?" And he's like, "Never know with her. Have to walk on eggshells. Sometimes she likes me, sometimes she doesn't. But she's a great mom. She's a great mom, great ex-wife." And then he goes on and on about how she triggered him into this last spiral because he caught her texting one of his old friends after he broke up with her. Basically, he's spent his entire life on reality TV cheating on every single girlfriend he's ever had, cheating on his wife.
Are you not talking about Tom?
They're all the same.
Yeah, okay.
Literally any Tom, Dick, or Harry, any Tom, or Jax. It's all the same.
Oh, Harry's not on Bravo, though.
I know, but, Harry Dubin.
Yeah.
Well,
there's always a Harry.
Speaking of Harry, his wife is really hot in the headlines right now.
Wait, before you get into that,
Harry.
I did appreciate the Traitors joke where Tom went home and they said that was the only time he was faithful, and that was where I laughed really hard. So
Tom Sandoval, rest in peace on the Traitors, because man, oh man, was he a good run on that show. His faces.
He really did.
You guys, I like Tom Sandoval now. I'm a
Reddit
Sandoval
headline:
fan.
Donna Bowling comes out as a Tom Sandoval defender. She hates women.
No, you know what would be even better is when Zachary Peters says he loves Meghan Markle.
That'll never happen.
I can tell.
Meghan Markle, Sussex of Sussex, is the
Sussex of Sussex.
I can't stand her. She is. I'm sorry. I know that I'm supposed to give her a chance. I tried. Zach, I watched your reel and your TikTok of her breaking down the show, and I laughed out loud. So I was like, this is going to be a good show.
You know when you think someone hasn't found their vertical or their niche they're good at? I want to say I think Meghan is trying. I want to say I think that the vertical she's been in has not been her best, and she's still trying to figure out where her best is.
Wake me up when she finds it.
Her best was when she was opening the suitcases on Deal or No Deal.
Icon. I think she could have really made a good career.
Nobody has fumbled the ball harder than Meghan Markle. She literally went from opening the suitcases to being part of the royal family to now trying to be the knockoff Gwyneth Paltrow from 10 years ago.
She's trying to be Ina Garden, and it's not working at all. She is so. I am sorry. There is something so inauthentic about her because she lacks a likability. There is. I think
any of those shows are unfortunately inauthentic.
But Ina was likable. She was kind.
Even Martha Stewart and Gwyneth Paltrow, they're not necessarily the most likable, but my thing is they are I'm not relatable. I don't try to be relatable. I don't want to be relatable. Y'all are peasants, and people will worship them for that. But and Meghan Markle her whole thing is I am trying to be relatable. I'm just like you. I'm frosting my cake using a Ziploc baggie because I'm so relatable. But it's what? You want people to make candles with the wax from their bee garden in your backyard in a house that's not even yours?
Crafts, Zachary Peter.
What?
Have you not seen 5 Minute Crafts?
No.
These videos,
I don't even know what that is.
These are not new things. These are
No, I know. None of these are Pinterest posts from 2017.
Correct. And so
she also uses the word moments often, and enough to make my skin crawl. She goes, I'm making a veggie platter, but we call it crudité, which makes it fancy. And she goes, it's nothing special. You just cut up veggies and then it's these little moments. As she's cutting up little flowers, it's these moments.
Zach put out a scathing video about the first episode.
I wouldn't say it was scathing.
It was so funny.
I would say you did a detailed job. It was funny. Reading it. This title from Variety, published on March 4th. The title, With Love Meghan, is a Montecito ego trip not worth taking. Yeah. Would you agree with that, Zach?
Yeah, it was wild. But so the part that people are, and I only recapped one of the first episode. I didn't even get to the next episode with Mindy Kaling. But so the part that people are picking apart is that Meghan Markle no longer wants to be called Meghan Markle. She says that from now on, and you can even see Mindy Kaling's face in this. She's like, girl, what? She says she's not Markle anymore, that now she goes by her maiden name, or not her maiden name, her married name, which is Sussex. And so in the credits, she's credited not as Meghan Markle, she's credited as Meghan Duchess of Sussex, which I feel like I get why people are upset with her, because it's like you completely shit on the royal family. You called them racist. You said they didn't like your kids and they wouldn't give your kids the title of prince and princess. And then you completely severed all ties with them. She has not been back to the UK. Her husband has lost his relationship with them, which, by the way, he has his own accountability to take because he decided to trash them in his book. But it's like, how do you then, like, what they should have done was just called him, Harry Markle, because he wants nothing to do with the royal family so much that he should have taken her last name. Clearly, she's the one wearing the pants in this marriage. But, like, it's ridiculous of her to be like, now I want to be Meghan Duchess of Sussex because I want to be relatable and connected to my children, whose last name isn't even Sussex.
So
I mean, I guess it kind of is, but it isn't.
So I'm seeing in this article, you didn't get to this episode, of course, but
I watched the clip.
some of the things are like people in this article review, at least, is explaining that some of the things are just over the top explanations.
The first episode is over the top.
There's a quote that says like, let's get like with honey, but there is a statement here that it looks like there's a mention of obviously American Riviera Orchard. And where Mindy Kaling says she received a jar of preserves, whichever it is. And obviously the name changed as ever, but Mindy Kaling said that it represented that moment when she got that from her as, quote, probably one of the most glamorous moments of my life. So I think in this review, it's also what I'm going to ask you. Do you think this is over the top and like over sensationalized and over glamorized of homemaking?
No, it's just like I wouldn't, because I understand where people are like, it's so beige, it's so basic, right? Because it's like the things that she's doing are like very Pinterest 2015, like they're very basic things, but she makes them so much bigger than they need to be, but also does it in like the most boring way like it is truly like I've never experienced a show that was truly that, like the moments are terrible. Every moment that we went through, and just the first episode, and I saw clips from the second episode. Even Mindy Kaling, I haven't watched the episode with Mindy Kaling, but the clips that I have seen, Mindy Kaling's face, or actually, let me speak to the first episode. Her friend, she has this gay friend that she's just like, this is my gay, and I met him on the set of Suits, and he used to do my makeup on the set of Suits, and we're besties, and we're best friends forever. And then she has no idea who this dude is. She doesn't know, like,
She says her kids call him Uncle Daniel.
Yeah, but yeah, Uncle Daniel, she didn't even know Uncle Daniel was left-handed. Uncle Daniel walks in and clearly is like blindsided that he was even cooking today. He was like, what are we, like, just his facial expressions alone. He's like, okay, I'm playing along with it. Okay, Meghan, wink, wink, you like to cook. She makes this Swiss chard kale pasta with chili flakes on it that she says her kids love, and it's just, she's making extras so that they have some for their lunch tomorrow. I'm like, what 6-year-old, what 5-year-old is eating Swiss chard pasta with chili flakes on it? And like, it's just, it's truly something else. I'll give her that. It's like nothing I've ever seen before.
It's her approach to every conversation too. It's also like it doesn't feel, and also I feel like I need to go back and watch old interviews, because now I feel like everything is a Blake Lively deep dive, but I feel like I have to go back and watch old interviews to see how she used to talk, because it's the way she speaks also just in her kitchen. It's not even her kitchen, in this fake kitchen, which she talks about the fact that this is not even my house. Everything I'm making, I'm just going to take home for later, because this is not my house. So but I want to hear how she just is talking, because she's like, so I love to make my home very comfy. I would love for someone to go in home, sleep and take a great soak. Who says soak?
I love a good soak.
Shut up. You don't say soak.
I always soak my feet. I don't say like my whole body's a soak. I say like soak my feet.
She made him bath salts that were literally the most unoriginal bath salts. It was literally just the Epsom salt, and she's like, and I'm gonna throw in some Himalayan.
And she created tea bags for the top with rose petals and shit.
It was just a
she
very
works at Lush. She works at Lush on the weekends. I mean, that's what it felt like. All these jars and canisters, and then the peanut butter pretzel bit took me over the edge.
Peanut butter pretzels.
She took Trader Joe's peanut butter pretzels. And then she put them into a Ziploc bag or another little bag, tied it with a label that said peanut butter pretzels. She goes, you can never be too, she goes, he loves peanut butter, but you can never be too conscious because of nut allergies.
That was the only thing I was thinking about. But I was like, you better know who you're sending these to. If you're
But
giving it
she
to a
did.
random,
It's her
if this
best
was a
friend
work
of all these
function-
years.
Daniel.
Uncle Daniel,
If
who
this was a
loves
work
peanut butter,
function-
but she wants, just in case he's allergic to peanut butter, which he loves, she's going to write, it was...
I get it. If you were in the common area of your office and you say peanut butter pretzels, true. If you're giving it to your friend's like, these are peanut
But
butter
also,
pretzels.
you very clearly know what peanut butter pretzels look like. They're not in
Sure,
the
your
little
jokes,
shape.
especially when you pull out the bag.
You know, like, you don't even need the bag. You can just tell if a pretzel is like, looks filled, then you know that there's
If
probably
you have a peanut butter allergy,
You're
you're
very
not
conscious
an
of
idiot
these
to
things.
an adult that has a peanut butter allergy is not
Back it
looking
up
at
one
a
more
peanut-
time. An adult.
And then even when they make the candles, which they make from the beeswax from her bee farm in her backyard that's not even her house, but even when they're making the candles, she's like, what should we call this one? We're going to call this candle Daniel's candle. I was like,
You know, I'm gonna have to move on because I don't know which one has been hit harder like a pinata, like the Oscars or the Would Love Megan review
Wait,
that
but
you
then
two are
when at the
giving.
beginning, the first scene is like it's got like Paul McCartney music, like the Beatles, and she's standing with the beekeeper going over at the bees, and she's like, "I just feel so present with nature. I'm just so nervous getting into the bees."
You
and
are-
it's,
you
it's
choose to
her
go
bee
acting.
farm, but yet she
She
never
can't
once
go.
interacts with the bees at all.
She's
She has
too scared.
the bee man do all the stuff, but
You
it's
know
her
what? The
bee farm.
bees are probably a metaphor for the paparazzi.
Nicolas Cage. Oh,
Oh,
Oh, he's my neighbor.
yeah. Well, thank you both for giving
Yeah,
me
he
a
lives across
dramatic
the
live
street.
reading of this entire episode because
next
I
time
feel
we
like you
do
both
it,
were
I'll
trying to
be
convince
I'll
me.
be Mindy Kaling and
Don't
and
you
Zack.
dare come for my culture.
Oh, yeah, that's Andy's Mexican culture.
Yes. Yes. In our other news for our watcher skip, there's a couple different things going on. It sounds like it's a skip for this With Love Megan series from your two perspectives.
No, I mean, listen, take some gummies and have at it.
That's what I did for
I
Paddington.
think you got to watch it back to back with the Baldwins, and then you've got great TV for the night. You know the Alec Baldwin show. Between that and Ilaria and With Love Megan, you've got
And
you
Emilia
end up
Perez.
walking. You look at your own life and you say, "I'm really living the dream."
Well, in other news of things coming up, besides things you know are already out, apparently Rachel Weisz is set to star in a Vladimir limited series adaptation at Netflix. So that's in
Vladimir
my
Putin?
Rachel Weisz.
What is the Vladimir? Which Zelensky or Putin? Which Vladimir are we? Is it about?
Are they both Vladimirs? They're not both Vladimirs. You
Let
Yes,
us
dumbass.
they are.
speak.
One's
So-
Vladimir and one's Vladimir.
This is a limited series based on Julia May Jonas's 2022 novel called Vladimir. It reads, as a woman's life unravels, she becomes obsessed with her captivating new colleague, full of sexy secrets. I almost said yummy. Dark humor and complex characters. Vladimir is about what happens to a woman. What happens when a woman goes hell bent to turn her fantasies into reality. So not about Putin. You know, you two are on one today.
Today.
Every day. But Zach, what is your Kristin Cavallari watch or skip here?
Wait, are you going to watch or skip Vladimir Putin?
You know,
I'm
I don't
definitely
know what to
skipping.
do anymore.
I'm skipping for sure. That I skipped over even just the description.
you know, the name Vladimir kind of gives me a not so yummy feeling as a read.
I don't know many like Vladimirs that I'm like. Well, I don't know. Vladimir Zelensky's kind of cute, but like, but Kristin Cavallari is coming back to reality TV. She's announced that she said fourth time's the charm, and so she has a new show called Honestly Cavallari that's coming to E! That's going to follow her podcast tour.
What happened
So
to
her-
Very Cavallari? Like, was
What?
that canceled or just Very Cavallari?
Very Cavallari, that was based off of her storefront in Nashville, and that ended when she and Jay Cutler split because she didn't want to show any of that on the show, so she just was like, we're not going to do that. Because it was originally supposed to be about her store and like the staff at her store. It's supposed to be like a Vanderpump Rules style show. And then eventually the show became more about her personal life and her private life and her marriage to her husband. And she was like, that's not what the show was ever supposed to be about. So she ended up ending the show after 3 seasons. And so now she's coming back with Honestly Cavallari, which is going to follow her on her podcast tour.
Oh. Okay.
So
You had me until that
I like
last
Kristin
line.
Cavallari. I'll watch it.
Did we ask to follow someone on a podcast tour though?
Not really.
Okay, that's the only thing I got lost. I was like, I'd keep up.
It's just gonna be like her and her famous
It's gonna be a
friends
little
are
behind the
taking shots.
scenes.
Yeah,
I'm down. I'm a big Kristin
I love
Cavallari
Kristin
fan.
Cavallari. I'll watch it.
I'm so into her. I love that she is a version of I love that she's not scared to talk about what is on her mind. She's not scared of like Hollywood.
Mm.
She's opened up a lot in the last like year to talk, she says like what's on her mind about the
Scott Disick, about
the Kardashians.
Yep.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Donna, you're perpetuating that false story about Mason Disick.
I stopped. I never did.
I stopped.
Don't say that.
Didn't
I
you?
already
I
got-
thought you were out there saying Mason had a baby.
I never said it.
Oh, you didn't?
I
I
was
thought
just
you did
saying this
too.
is wild rumors.
Slander.
Stop.
Well, what's our last story, Mr. Zachary?
Well, this is we needed something for our couples quarter, and so I saw that Ben Affleck, well, not himself specifically, but Page Six has an exclusive source that says that Ben Affleck wants a second chance with Jennifer Garner
I
because
want a second
obviously
chance
that
with this
worked out
episode,
so
'cause I
well with
feel like we've
Jennifer
been
Lopez.
We spoke at the same time. You
Yeah,
were
I couldn't
first?
understand either of you.
I just said that it worked out so well with Jennifer Lopez, so why not go back to Jennifer Garner?
It worked
That's
out
all.
so well with
He's just
Jennifer
in a
Garner.
cycle now.
I said I wanted a second chance of this episode because I feel so delulu.
And the cycle, it ends with us.
It ends with us.
Bring back the
I don't-
pinata.
I think that Jennifer Garner has a full-on long-term boyfriend. I think this is all a rumor.
I don't think. I also think she's just like not like I'll appease you because you're my kid's dad, but like I don't think she's interested in
I
getting.
have a
back
weird
together.
feeling that
sure.
Ben Affleck is like a Jax Taylor. Like he's kind of just like annoyingly
Probably.
always around, and she always feels like she needs to take care of him or something.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment.
Mm.
How about you, Andy? You have a lot to say on the matter, it looks like. Or do you want to go back to Pink Pony Club?
I'd love to go back to the Pink Pony Club. I miss Flaming Saddles. I miss when I had space to run around West Hollywood without tripping over someone in the streets next to Rocco's.
Oh, good times.
Good times, good times. Jennifer Garner's a saint. I think we don't need to taint her life anymore. She has been through enough. She has been supportive. I don't think we need to give any more than she has with not only her own kids with Ben Affleck, but Jennifer Lopez's kids also in this time. She has been an anchor. And maybe that's why someone's like, have at it. She's stable. She's sane. She's great. Two people don't always work. And I think that if there was a second chance, there would have already been that on the books.
Yeah.
Like
She
that would
doesn't
already
want a
happen.
second chance with him. Come on. What is she like? Oh yeah, I love when he smokes cigarettes and drinks Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, bring him back into my life.
I just love the photos of him from paparazzi being like so relatable with his donuts, his coffee orders, his cigarette in hand. He's like,
Paparazzi.
he's so relatable. I'm like, I get it though. I
Yeah.
get it. I would also feel that if I was going through everything you've gone through in life. Your brother, your ex-wives.
Pony Club. I wanna get in Pink Pony Club.
Maybe Ben Affleck needs to go to the Pink Pony Club.
He probably already has too many times, which is why he's where he is now.
You're right. You're right.
They're not going to end up together. They're just hanging out. They're friends.
No.
They're supportive. They're co-parenting.
Yeah, the source says the timing is not right now, but he's open to it in the future.
And you know what's
shut
gonna happen?
up.
You know what's gonna happen?
What?
Mr. Zachary Peter is gonna say, I called it as soon as something happens. He said, I said it,
Which I usually do.
which he usually does, and I tell you no one likes and I
Wait.
told you so, bitch.
I want to wrap this episode up. Because we have the finale and the reunion of the Traitors. I want to know what your predictions are for the
Okay.
Traitors finale.
So Dylan did say that he just shot the reunion for Traitors when he was
knew
with us in
that.
person. He said it was
Yes.
wild.
Mm.
I guarantee you some nasty shit went on in the last episode because it seems that he's kind of a little coy right now. He's trying to do his thing. I think something happens with him and Danielle if she gets spared or she gets voted out and he has some sort of arc in the final episode about him and his trust with everybody in the house, and everybody's placed trust with has been a traitor.
I don't know if the finale is going to be wild, but I do think that the reunion will be wild. I think everybody's going to be guns ablaze into Danielle.
As they should be. She's the worst player we've ever seen in our lives.
Okay, but do you think Brittany votes for Danielle, or do you think Brittany votes for Ivor?
The editing is making it look like she voted for Danielle, but they always fuck us with those.
They always fuck us in the editing. Yeah, that's my argument to that is, if she didn't vote for Danielle, then why wouldn't the cliffhanger be the tie? Because then it would be a tie and they would have to vote again. So why wouldn't it then be like to be continued?
Well, that could also be the editing where she was like,
because the way that it was shot, when she looked at Dolores and Dolores looked at like her eyes, like she's gonna vote in a specific way, she still ended up voting for Ivar. So that really threw, I think, her off. So that way, when she's revealing this, she's kind of like, I didn't expect it to go this way. I had no idea we're going to be in a tie. I think that's the real gasp that she's giving, but the edit is giving voting for Danielle. Because
if she really votes for Danielle, that sends Danielle home. There's no tie. The only tie is if she votes for
she's going to vote for Ivar, and she's going to be like, how the fuck is going to be up to a coin toss? I think that's the face she's giving of surprise. Like, it's going to be up to chance. It's no longer up to their decision. It's chance.
Oh, man. Who do you think wins in the end?
Ivar. No.
Well, I mean, if he's a faithful and the faithfuls win.
I think Dylan Efron might win in the end. I think that in the end, I think his career arc in this game will say, I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody. And everyone's going to say, I trust Dylan. And he's going to be like left with.
So I think, it's gonna go one of two ways. Either one of the traitors makes it through, and I think the only traitor that'll make it through is probably Brittany.
Has to be.
There's too much heat on Danielle that even if Danielle makes this roundtable, then in the end they will vote her out regardless.
There's no way Danielle makes it.
You have to remember at the end that they all have to say, do we agree that everyone here is a faithful? Yeah. And if they're gonna say no, they're gonna vote again, and they're gonna banish Danielle, and they're probably gonna say, okay, do we think everyone here is a faithful?
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to have to keep voting and voting and voting. I think they'll vote out Gabby.
I don't think they'll vote out Gabby.
I think they'll vote out Gabby at the very, very end, saying like, I don't believe.
I think Gabby and Dylan will go all the way to the end. I think they'll vote out Dolores. I think Brittany and Danielle, I think those three are definitely getting voted out.
Dylan's never trusted Gabby, as he said. So I'm willing to throw that he's going to say, I don't believe that you're a faithful, and we're going to vote again.
But she's never given anybody any indication that she was a traitor.
She has a distrust of people because she didn't really get to know a lot of others.
Yeah. I think Gabby and Dylan go all the way. If the faithfuls win, Gabby and Dylan are the two. I think
really
Ivar
become to like Gabby.
Yeah.
Like I started the season being annoyed with her, and now I like her.
She's gaggy. Gaggy.
She's cute on that show.
He had to return to the bookkeeper, so I sent him. And he
it's
said,
the way she talks. She's adorable.
She also said that the bookcase comes back. Because remember how she heard Danielle's voice in the bookcase when the traitors went? She said she came on TikTok and she's like, everyone's asking why I haven't brought that up yet. She's like, just wait. I always wait until when it's time to reveal the information. So,
ooh.
I have a feeling she's going to have a gotcha moment.
Well, we'll see.
All right.
I think that concludes our podcast episode. Hold your bets. Place them. Put them through. We might have to do an emergency Friday episode, early bright in the morning, Mr. Zachary Peter, just to recap
the traitors. Yeah, I actually like that.
Abso-fucking-lutely. Get on your high horse, pink pony club boots, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Say bye, Donna. Where can they find you?
Bye, friends. I normally would plug my show, but because I've said so many things that were probably not right, don't find me anywhere.
Don't find her. She is nowhere and everywhere at the same time.
I will no longer be on the air. Find me at hannahburner.com. Daily Dose of Donna, Monday through Friday on YouTube. And on audio and Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on Zach Peters' podcast in his comment section.
And with that, we will see you all real soon. Go find Donna. Go find Zach. Go find something that is a home for me, and we'll talk soon.
Aw, Andy. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.